I will be very short. I just want to say a few words on the occasion of Dame Marion paying a visit back to her beloved Broxbourne, and we return that belovedness to you for the work that you have done over many years on behalf of Broxbourne. Your birthday is actually tomorrow, I think, which is the 15th of July, in which you'll be 80, so I hope you don't mind me saying that. But it's interesting because you were born in 1936, and what a tumultuous year that was. Adolf Hitler, I think, was Chancellor of Germany. The Olympic Games and the controversy that was going on at the Olympic Games itself. And of course, I think the King died in the early part of that year, and then Marion came along, and then the second King abdicated. There was certainly a lot going on, but of course, you have been our MP in 1983. And did you know that you made your maiden speech on your birthday? That's right. On your birthday, you made your maiden speech. And normally, I think Charles will agree that when you make a maiden speech, you keep to the protocol that they set. So you pay due regard and you praise your predecessor, that you don't get into anything controversial at all, and you affirm to the dignities of the House. Not married. Not married. Her maiden speech, actually, was quite unique as far as I recall, in as much as you made it during a motion, a balloted motion that had been brought forward on the performance of the Metropolitan Police. And you gave a very strong, strident response to law and order. And in fact, I think you were the first person in 24 years in order to make a maiden speech during a motion, since somebody else 24 years earlier, and do you know who that somebody else was 24 years earlier that did exactly what you did? It was Margaret Thatcher. It was Margaret Thatcher. So there was nothing unique about Marion, other than the fact that she was strong, tough, bold, stood up for her beliefs, but more so stood up for the people of Broxbourne. And I think we were lucky that you were our MP for 22 glorious years. And we're of course very lucky to have your successor here today, who has been here for some time as well. But we wanted to, young and older alike here today, to say thank you. And what better way to say thank you than on your birthday? And I think without making it a too strenuous day on a very warm, beautiful day, we wanted to keep it simple and show you some of the beautiful things that we have, not least the people who have come here today. So as leader of the Borough, on behalf of not just the Borough Council, but all those that know you, I do wish you a very, very happy speeches, and then I've got a surprise, which I think you will instantly, and I know how good you are in detail, you will instantly recall. But now, can I ask our current MP, I think he's turned his phone off.
Yeah, I never had it on.
He was waiting for a phone call, because I think he might get a phone call, but we don't know. But can I introduce you, Charles Walker, MP?
Well, thank you, Mark. If you want a lesson in hubris, there was a reshuffle about 3 years ago, and I was on the train, it was going off, leaving Parliament, my mobile phone rang, it was 9:15 at night, and it was the number 10 switchboard. So I straightened my tie, I answered the phone. So number 10 switchboard here, we're putting you through to the Prime Minister's office. I thought, here we go. Yes, hello Mr Walker, it's the Prime Minister's office. He's coming to Broxbourne tomorrow, and he thought he should let you know that he's going to be there. So, from then on, I have never had my phone switched on. Now listen, I thought in preparation for my very brief speech, I should ask Marion's colleagues in the House of Commons how they remember her. And when I asked this question to a number of colleagues, they smiled broadly. I've got indefatigable was one of the words that was used. Another descriptor was, she really did organise very good select committee trips. Another word was, occasionally strident. She knew her own mind. You didn't want to get on a wrong side, but she was a loyal friend. And then there were the more frivolous observations. She had a lot of hair, one colleague said. And then I thought, how history repeats itself. She always had very nice shoes. And given that we now have a Prime Minister who is known for her shoes, I thought, well, here we go. Nothing changes in politics. But actually, seriously, what Marion is remembered for in the House of Commons is her loyalty to her friends and her loyalty to the party. She served this country, Broxbourne and this country, for 22 fantastic years. And a colleague said, throughout it all, Marion never lost her sense of humour. No matter how bad things were going, 1997 sprang to mind, 95, 96, 94 indeed, Marion could always be counted on at the end of the conversation to give a roaring laugh and say, never mind, dear. And so I just want to say to anybody thinking of going into politics, don't follow a legend, because it's pretty miserable. Because people say, oh, you're not like Marion Roe, are you? And you know what? For so many reasons I'm not. But she's been a great friend to me in the 10 years that I've been the Member of Parliament. She's always been at the end of the telephone. She's always been available. And Marion, quite simply, isn't it wonderful to come back to a place where you're still loved? There are not many politicians who can do that, to be honest. And that is your legacy. So many happy returns for tomorrow. And thank you for being so generous in allowing me the chance to be your successor. Thank you very much.
Very much indeed, Charles. Now, not only has Marion been an outstanding constituent MP, but she was also passionately involved with the association. So we could not let this moment pass without the current chairman of the association just saying a few words on behalf of the Broxbourne Parliamentary Association. James Burnett.
Thank you, Mark. The first time I saw Marion, I was at school, at school assembly, and she strode in that way that she has. And I looked up and I thought, oh my. And when I actually got to know her some years later when I got involved in politics, I still had that reaction of, oh my. Because it was a wet November day, and Moira O'Neill, who we lost sadly earlier in the year, said, this is the person you need to make friends with. Said it was Marion, and she was there in the headscarf in November, pouring with rain. And she sort of said, come on, and marched me up to a door. I was 19, nervous, completely out of my comfort zone. And she hammered on the door and did her thing. And sometime later, it was probably the 2001 general election, I thought, yeah, let's go, let's have a couple of weeks off, do this general election. Oh my word. There was me, sort of trolling around in my trainers, getting completely knackered. There was Marion, 9-inch stilettos, steaming through like a battleship in full flight. It was fun. It was an awful lot of fun, because wherever she went, you know, she'd knock on the door, she'd say, Member of Parliament seeking re-election, and somebody would go, no, I'm a Labour person, but I'm voting for you, because you're a good constituency MP. And the proof of the fact that she is a good constituency MP is that she's still associated with this constituency as our president. You know, that shows a depth of character and a depth of commitment to this area that I think is cherished in the sense that we are all here today to celebrate a milestone birthday. And I'm sure there will be some people here today that won't be here in 10 years' time, but I'm absolutely certain Marion will be.
Really good. Now we've got one final speaker, because what we say, what we all say and think, a lot of people out there did at the time when you were our MP. And when I go across the borough, people still ask about you, how you're getting on, how you're doing. I think the last time we spoke, you were somewhere in Panama, I think, or somewhere like that, trying to get you on the phone and all that sort of thing. But you are an adventurer, but you're also a doer, and you keep to your word. And I asked a young lady to come and say a few words, because you stepped into her life some years ago. You may recall it immediately, I don't know, but you helped her family. And that lady wanted to come along today just to say a few words. So can I turn to Louise? Louise, come on.
Right, some of you will probably recognise, obviously, I'm the owner of Louise's Florist in Holliston. And obviously many years ago, when Marion was obviously in the House of Commons, she used to phone many years ago and place her order with me. Well, obviously, that's how I sort of know her, but the other angle on it is, well, it's funny because this is the month, it was 40 years ago that this actually happened, and some of you may remember and some of you obviously won't. My dad was a mercenary in Angola, and hopefully I'm not going to get upset. And obviously when my dad came home, obviously my dad was sentenced, it was a big trial, it was followed by all the local newspapers, so obviously I grew up with it a lot. When my dad came home, obviously when you go to apply for a job and obviously, you know, things like that, of course, what are you going to say that you've been a mercenary? Who's going to employ you? Who's going to do anything like that? Well, Marion, my dad went to see her, and she sorted loads of things out for him, and he was able to get work and everything. I'm sorry for getting upset, and every time my dad used to see Marion, obviously on the telly, because my dad was a typical man's man, and we used to say to him, "Dad, there's Marion," and he used to go, "Yeah, don't knock Marion, she's my mate." That's what he used to say. And obviously, when my dad did come home, my dad set up his own business. And he was very successful. Obviously, my dad is no longer here, but basically, at the end of the day, if it wasn't for you opening some of the doors and obviously the legal things that he needed to do, because obviously, you know, you need those sort of things. And as I say, while my dad was away, obviously the Foreign Office, everything was involved with it. So, and I've even got letters from the House of Commons. And I'm actually in the process of doing a book about it. And obviously you will be mentioning it because obviously that allowed him to obviously get on with his life, and obviously he was able to be here for my dream of having my own shop. So I'd just like to say thank you.
That was quite painful, I know, emotional, brought back memories, but there was a lot more to that Marion got involved in regarding the situation that they're in. Now, I will call upon Marion just to say a few words. Before I do that, can I just ask Mr. Mayor to present two very small mementos to you. One is a reminder of the borough of Broxbourne, and the other one is long overdue, your certificate of service to the borough. So I've asked the Mayor if he could do it. Round the other way, so you can say this first. Smile, man. The moment was overcome. So, and if I could, a certificate for outstanding service with the borough's seal.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, you want to say a few
Not
words?
scheduled, it's not a speech, but since coming into council, Marion has been a friend of mine and of everyone here, and we're doing what a friend would do, big her up. Well done, you deserve it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
On that day, Marion?
If you see my mascara running, don't take any notice, pretend you can't see it. Because I'm feeling, as you can imagine, very emotional at this moment. Can I, first of all, say a big thank you to all those involved in organising this wonderful day for me to celebrate my 80th birthday. It has been a fantastic moment for me, and I shall never forget it. Even if I get Alzheimer's at the age of 105, I can tell you this day will be there forever. So I want to say how grateful I am to all those involved. Of course, that's the Broxbourne Parliamentary Conservative Association. I know Sue also made a big contribution. Dee Hart, again, a fantastic job, and Sue Aldrin. But thank you very much for everything you've done to bring us all together amongst all my friends. I have to say, it's a great privilege, it was a great privilege and honour for me to serve the Broxbourne constituency as your Member of Parliament. It was 22 years I thoroughly enjoyed, and in those years, as I'm sure you will realise, I made many good friends in this constituency. And when I retired, and I'm sure some of you know I retired because my elder daughter was diagnosed with very aggressive breast cancer, and therefore I decided that it was time for me to put family first, and that's why I retired. And so again, it was just wonderful for me that I was invited to become a freeman of the borough, because that meant I could still keep in touch. And of course I became patron and then subsequently president of the Broxbourne Parliamentary Conservative Association. To me that was very special, because it meant I could come back into the constituency legitimately and attend mayor making, but also events from the BPCA. And I also remained actually president of the Hoddesdon Society for 10 years. I've just retired from that. So I was able to come back without treading on the toes of my successor and him feeling the old bag wouldn't get off the platform. So that was just wonderful for me. I have to say, when I was elected in 1983, I was selected just a few months before the election was called. And having gone through all the procedures, massive numbers in Wolsey Hall, haven't done it for a very long time to actually select a Member of Parliament. As I'm sure you know, my predecessor was around for a very long time. And I went to see Margaret Woodfield to discuss campaigning. And I was explaining to her about the anchorman system for canvassing, and I began to feel she didn't really quite know what I was talking about. And when I finally said, and I'm bringing in my campaign wagon, and Margaret looked at me and she said, we don't have campaign wagons in Hertfordshire. So I said, well, you do now. And those of you around at the time will remember that very old Land Rover I borrowed from a friend. And we plastered it in road posters, and the guys all got together and did a rota for driving it. And then we had the team canvassers. Remember the anchorman? Nobody had done it before. They just used to go out with a board and an electoral register solely. And the anchorman, you've got a good team going, and everybody had such fun. It was really a good evening out for everybody. And then I learnt that Central Office had actually designated the new Broxbourne constituency, because new boundaries, a big chunk of the rurals were going straight into Hertford and Stortford. And Central Office had designated us as a marginal seat, which I thought, well, I don't know, I thought Barking, and it looks a bit better than Barking, and I had the highest rate of every Conservative in the whole country in the 1979 general elections, a candidate in Barking, so I think I might be able to manage Broxbourne. Anyway, we worked and we worked and we worked. Polling day came, they counted the votes, they counted and they counted and they counted, and at the end of the day, we ended up, I think we were the 5th safest Conservative seat in the whole country. We beat Hertford and Stortford. Can I just say, the point of saying this to you is that I think we all learned very early on that if you work as a team, you can achieve. People can't do that individually, but if you work as a team, you can make it. You can be successful. But you have to make sure that that teamwork continues. After the election, it continued, because there were no advice bureaus at all when I arrived here, none at all. So I thank very much the Conservative clubs for stepping forward at that time. Holliston, Waltham Cross, Rye Park stepped forward and said you can hold them on our premises. I paid tribute to them for that magnanimous gesture to say we could hold my surgeries there. Secondly, in my past I'd worked with councillors, I had been a councillor. Very important that I got the councillors on side to come with me to my advice bureaus, because a lot of the problems of course affect council, county, local as well. They stepped forward. They all stepped forward. They did a rota to come to my advice bureaus and participate in providing advice support to the constituents, which was very good indeed. And then of course we had to have receptionists. So we then had the volunteers from the Broxbourne Conservative Association who came forward and acted as the receptionists to get the names and addresses and everything else before the people came in through the door. Teamwork. It was teamwork. And that was why it was so successful. So I would also just like to now say a big thank you to all those people involved in my advice bureaus, the party, the local party, councillors, county councillors, all of those people who made it work so that we were providing, as a team, quality service to our constituents across the board. I can remember the Hertfordshire Chief Executive, after I'd been a Member of Parliament for about 9 months. I met him at some event or other, and he said to me, he got more letters from me than the rest of the Hertfordshire MPs put together. So I think you could say that we as a team actually operated successfully on behalf of the people we represented. And that was terribly, terribly important. I listened to Charles about number 10 voting. Reminds me of when I received welcomed into a ministerial office. We'd had the election in '87, and I had worked very hard along with all my friends. You know what it's like when you've been pounding the pavements for a few weeks, you feel absolutely exhausted. So my husband had arranged with some friends for us to go to Glyndebourne the following Monday, immediately after the election on the Thursday. Switch off time. So I arrived at Glyndebourne, went in to watch Tosca. And sitting there, first team, up we go, marvellous music. And suddenly this woman appeared in the gangway, leant across and said, "Are you Mrs. Roe?" "Yes." And I thought, my God, the children, you know, as one does. Okay. So she said, "There's a message for you." So clambering out over the chair, Josie, what's that? And I shh, because everybody went shh behind me. I stepped out, walked up the gangway, followed this woman, and she said, "Well, this is a number for you to ring." So I looked at her, I don't know. I asked, "Well, where's the telephone?" No, it wasn't there. And so she directed me somewhere, and I couldn't find a telephone anywhere. So I found an office, opened the door of the office, and there were people inside, and I noticed a telephone on the desk. I said, "Please, could I use your phone? I've got this very urgent phone call to make. I don't know what it's about, but obviously it's very urgent." So the two girls said, "Yes, of course." So I dialed the number, and I went through, and it said, number 10 Downing Street. Oh my God. It didn't say the hospital. So I said that I'm responding to a message. Just one minute. "Is that you, Marion?" "Yes." "It's Margaret here." "Oh, the Prime Minister." Well, the two girls stopped typing. And I said, "I'm returning your call." "Yes, dear, we've taken a long time to find you. Where are you?" "I'm at Glyndebourne watching Tosca." "Oh, well," she said, "now I want you to do the job in the Department of Parliament under Secretary of State. You begin work first thing tomorrow morning and go back and enjoy the opera." I went back into the room and all the way, "What's that? What's that? Shh." I wasn't allowed to say anything until 7 o'clock that evening, so I had to keep quiet. When we went to dinner, James by this time was tearing his hair out. I announced that I'd been made a minister, starting next morning. So that was rather a novel way of actually getting your instructions, if I can put it like that. I wasn't hovering by a telephone, which I understand had been entirely however, I thoroughly enjoyed my 22 years, and I'm still working. But one of the greatest pleasures that I had is coming back to my old constituency. I'm part of family, I feel, here. You're part of my family. And I have so many wonderful memories of what we did together. And it was together. It was the team that achieved all those things. So can I just say a very big thank you to everybody coming here today. Thank you for providing me with a tree to plant. That was just a wonderful gesture. And also for going to Lowood. Again, very nice meeting them all there and the good job that they're doing. Thank you so much. It really was a great pleasure.
Thank you for that fantastic speech, and of course a trip down memory lane, and I always enjoy trips down memory lane. There is, and of course that work continues. I think that's very important to say. The work that you were doing and the work that Charles now does, and what many councillors and other people in this room do, that work is continuing, and long may it do so. But like any birthday, we have a birthday cake. And we need to cut that birthday cake. So you've got one last duty to perform, and that is to put the knife into the cake and to cut that. And I'm sure David will teach you. You've got the knife coming? You've got the knife coming?
Yeah, it's coming to that direction.
Where's the knife?
It's coming.
Have we got a knife? She can't only trust it.
Big knife on the way.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marion. Happy birthday to you. Well done.
Thank you.